When it comes to the conversation of all-time greats, a name that is almost always brought up among the very top of the best in football history is no other than Diego Maradona. The man that was said to be the only player comparable to Pele himself, the Argentinian who originally wore the number 10 and was the predecessor to Lionel Messi and one of the most iconic football players ever. But just how good was he really? Was he really as great as everyone makes him out to be, or could he have just been a little bit overrated? Hey guys, what's up? It's Raymar back again for another video, and today we're gonna see if Diego Maradona was really that good or if he was just a bit overrated. But before we start, I just want to say that some of you might get triggered by the thumbnail or title, so just please watch till the end before you hit that dislike button, because I am in no way trying to disrespect Maradona. I'm just gonna try to be as objective as possible. So with that being said, let's get started. Diego Maradona has always been a player painted in a godlike level amongst football legends. But when it comes to comparisons, most people will always bring up either one of two things: how he compared to Pele and how he compares to fellow Argentinian Lionel Messi. According to the man Pele himself, Maradona was a much better player than Lionel Messi, and we definitely have to take Pele's observations into consideration, right? After all, he of all people should know how to correctly gauge the skill of someone like Maradona. According to Pele, Maradona was superior for various reasons. The first one being that Messi just mainly uses his left foot and couldn't head the ball very well. Diego Maradona, in comparison, at least according to Pele, was great at using both feet, so he basically had a 5-star weak foot and could head the ball very well. But how many of you guys knew that Maradona was actually a shorter player, standing at 5 foot 5 inches tall, which is actually 2 inches less than Lionel Messi? How much about Diego Maradona did you really know? Do Pele's words even have much merit? Many of you have surely heard how great Maradona was, but let's break down his career to see just how good his greatness actually was. Let's begin with a 16-year-old Diego Maradona who, till this very day, is still the youngest player to ever play for the Argentine Primera Division. He would play for the team Argentinos Juniors and score his very first goal only 2 weeks after turning 16. In a span of 5 seasons, he would go on to score 116 goals in 166 appearances. Maradona, despite his extremely young age, would gradually improve every season, the most impressive ones being his second to the last in 1979, where he would score 26 goals in 26 appearances, and his last in 1980, where he would score 43 goals in 45 appearances for the club. Maradona would also play for Boca Juniors in 1981, where he would score 28 goals in 40 appearances, which at the age of 21 is nothing short of great, leading his club to a league title and his very first piece of silverware. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Sure, those are great stats, but Maradona played in Argentina, where it might not have been ultra competitive. Well, here's where Maradona and Pele's careers differ greatly. While Pele stayed in Brazil, where I mentioned in my Pele video was definitely not the most defensively impressive league, Maradona would expand his career horizons by playing in different parts of the world. This was when Maradona would make a move to no other than FC Barcelona, where he was, at the time, the most expensive transfer fee in the world by a record margin, and it only costed 3 million euros, which back in the early 80s was on some Pablo Escobar insane level stuff. To be fair, Maradona had a great run with FC Barcelona, but I personally feel like people tend to overplay his time in Spain just a little bit. On his first season in 1983, he would score 23 goals in 35 matches and win the Copa del Rey. Maradona was also the very first of 3 players to ever be applauded by Real Madrid fans during an El Clasico, the other 2 being no other than Ronaldinho and Andres Iniesta. However, Maradona would suffer hepatitis and get a broken ankle that year that would end his season short. Maradona's time with Barcelona was quite brief. In his second and last season with the club, he would score 15 goals in 23 appearances and they would win the European Cup. However, Maradona was basically forced out of the club after he was involved in a huge brawl which broke out and led to 60 people getting injured during a match against Atletico Bilbao with the Spanish monarchy watching. Maradona was much more aggressive and hot-tempered in comparison to other all-time greats mentioned in the same caliber as him. Contrary to popular belief, Maradona would win no more than 2 trophies and would never win the league title with Barcelona. Maradona would not only play in Spain, but his skills were also proven in Italy's Serie A. That takes us to the other club in which Maradona was really well known for, Napoli. Maradona would be the hero for the Italian club as, prior to his arrival, no southern Italian team had ever dominated the league. He would elevate the club to its most successful era in history. Maradona would bring Napoli their very first Serie A title, and he instantly became a legend in the city. Murals and paintings of Maradona were found all over, and the people there saw him like a god. During Maradona's 7 seasons with Napoli, they would go on to win 2 league titles, 1 Coppa Italia, 1 UEFA Cup, and 1 Italian Super Cup, while finishing as runner-ups for the league title twice, and finishing as runner-ups for the Coppa Italia 1 other time. Surprisingly enough, which I would imagine would come as a shock to many of you, Maradona has only led the Serie A in scoring once during the 1987-1988 season. Oddly, people seem to think that he's done so many more times. He was, however, Napoli's all-time leading goal scorer with 115 goals until the record was broken in 2017 by Marek Hamšík, who played 12 seasons and had twice as many appearances for Napoli as opposed to Diego Maradona's 7. In his 259 appearances for Napoli, Maradona would score 115 goals, which isn't bad at all, but might come as a surprise to you younger fans who thought he was much more of a goal-scoring machine like Pele, Messi, or Ronaldo. He would only score over 20 goals a single time during the 1987-1988 season for Napoli. However, many people would say what truly made Maradona one of the all-time greats was his performance for his country, Argentina, specifically in the infamous 1986 World Cup held in Mexico. Unlike Pele, who arguably had a much better team and legendary teammates, Maradona single-handedly carried his team to the final and won the trophy, clearly being the best player in the entire tournament by a long shot, playing every single minute of every game and scoring 5 goals along with 5 assists during the tournament. Maradona's most important goals would come in the crucial quarterfinal and semifinal. And no, surprisingly, contrary to popular belief, he would not score in the final. Yet there are still those who argue the legitimacy of Maradona's World Cup legacy. Some say that Argentina would have never beaten England if not for Maradona's infamous Hand of God goal, which, objectively speaking and non-arguable, was definitely 1000% a handball. Regardless if that goal would have been disallowed, it was clear that Maradona was head and shoulders above everyone else in the entire tournament. So if any English fans of back then are watching this now, the comments are a safe place to let it all out. But remember, it wasn't Maradona's fault, it was the referees. What made Maradona such an incredible player despite all his faults and off-pitch controversies was his amazing dribbling, control, and creativity. He's one of the most skillful players ever, and his touch and dribble can truly be compared to that of Pele and Messi. When he ran with the ball, it was almost like it was glued to him. That's just how good his dribbling was. And although Maradona might not have been such a prolific goal scorer like Messi, CR7, and Pele, he did have his greatness in his own right. If there's one thing I could say, Maradona played in a much more diverse league than that of Pele, who he is very much closely tied to as they played in close eras. However, I would have to say that Maradona encountered much more skilled players and developed defenses compared to that of Pele's time. Back to Pele's earlier statement about Maradona being a better player than Messi is just objectively untrue. I believe in every aspect Messi is the superior football player in terms of both skill and competition. The only thing that Maradona really has over Messi is experience in multiple leagues and international success. Messi faces much better defenders and generally better skilled players and better coached teams. Many of you have told me that it's not good to compare players of the previous generation to that of the current ones, and I understand. However, that doesn't change the fact that players from the previous era are generally less skilled than the ones we have now. There are many documentaries backed by science about this exact topic and how sports sciences, training techniques, and even physical physiques of athletes have improved over time, like in Quest for the Perfect Athlete or Sports of the Future, which I've seen and learned from to help me make this video. If you still don't believe me, then you can go ahead and watch these and thousands of other educational documentaries on CuriosityStream. CuriosityStream is a streaming service with thousands of documentaries and non-fiction titles on pretty much any subject you can imagine. And the best thing is that it's only $2.99 a month, or even better, $19.99 for a whole year, which is even cheaper than the most basic football you can find at your local store. And if you sign up using my promo code RAYMAR, you get 1 month for free. That's right, absolutely free. From sports, history, science, everything in between, and pretty much every topic you could think of, CuriosityStream has you covered. So click the link in the description and check them out now. So anyways, was Maradona really overrated? I would say in his era and the competition he faced, absolutely not. He was a perennial player and definitely changed the game of football, head and shoulders above everyone in his time. But if you were to compare him to Messi, then maybe just a little bit, in regards to how great his career was led to be believed compared to how it actually was. But anyways, that's gonna do it for me today, guys. Let me know if you think Maradona is overrated or if he really is better than Messi in the comments below. Leave a like if you did enjoy, as it really does help support my channel, and subscribe and turn those notifications on for the highest quality football documentaries on YouTube. I can't say this enough, but thank you guys for all the love and support, and I'll see you in the next one.